Good morning. We're going to demonstrate how to update your DocMagic defaults to utilize the new pushback feature. You should only have to do this once, and once it is set, you should never have to do it again. So from in your loan file, you'll go to Customize, Defaults, and scroll to DocMagic and update the customer ID from whatever variant of DocMagic account that you currently use, 214-355 new, NEW, and it is important to have the new capitalized. Thank you very much. Good morning. This training video will show you how to send a package for eSign with DocMagic Pushback. So once you have your loan file open in Byte and you're ready to issue initial disclosures, just like you have in the past, after assuming that you have also updated your default, you'll go to Document Preparation and make sure you have selected the initial disclosure package and set the eSign and signature enable event notification, all no changes, how the process has worked in the past, and process your disclosures. Once your package goes out via DocMagic, I will show you then how the logging appears on the loan estimate, and we'll have a follow-up video here momentarily to show how that logging appears after the consumer has completed the eSign and how the pushback appears. So we can now see that our package has been sent. And if we go back to the logging, notice that you see a pop-up that says the file has been changed by another user. That's the pushback user doing its magic in the background. So if we click on our package, you'll notice that the delivery date, time received, and earliest close dates are all blank and not editable, which is the difference from how they are now. Those fields will automatically get pushed back along with the delivery method once the consumer has completed their eSign. So check back in a moment and we'll have another video to show how it looks once the consumer has finished. Good morning. This is our third video in our DocMagic pushback training sequence. So you've already watched, hopefully, the video that shows how to update your default setting. You have already, hopefully, watched the video that shows how to send a disclosure package to the consumer for eSign and the changes of how that will appear in the disclosure logging. So our third video is what happens when those documents or disclosures have been signed by the consumer. And the logic for this will work the same, whether it's an initial disclosure package, a change of circumstance, an initial CD, anything but the closing package. So as we can see in the DocMagic eSign console, both the consumer and the loan officer have completed the eSign event. So if we go back to our file in Byte, and this should look very similar to our last video, notice how our logging is partially completed, and all we need to do is change the screen to refresh the page. Notice our file has been changed by another user, window has popped up. And if you notice the lights up here in the corner that you look to see, are you passing QM? Do you need a redisclosure? All those good things. There's now another one that has the eSign light active as well. So you can click on that and view all of the eSigned document packages that have been completed for this loan file. So if we go back to our disclosure logging, you'll now notice that our eSign updates have been, our disclosure delivery mechanisms have been updated automatically. And we see that our issue date, our delivery date and time have populated. Our delivery method has been updated to eSigned. The receive date has been completed as of the date that all of the consumers have completed their signature. And our earliest closing is going to pull from Medea for the initial disclosure package. So we can see if we go to the document package tab, you'll notice that you'll see that the signed documents have been returned automatically into Byte. No more do you have to go to the eSign console, save them as a PDF, drag them into the loan, or pull them from the email and then log in and download and drag them into the loan. It happens automatically for you with no effort on your part at all. You can see that any signers that would be there. So if there are multiple consumers, you'll see multiple different consumers listed here. when they consented, when they signed, did a hard copy go out in the mail in the event that the consumer did not complete the e-sign? And also, did the e-sign link that went to them via email, did that bounce? So, for example, if the data entry for the email address was entered incorrectly for the consumer and there was a typo, you would find out right there that the e-sign or the link had bounced to the consumer. So if we go into our document store, I'll also show you how to auto-index these. We see that our ZDoc package, the initial disclosure package, is already there, as well as the signed documents, and the audit log is already in there, the e-signature certificate. So to index these documents, you can then highlight the document you have, go up to New, create new documents based on the selected document. So the third item, and it will pull open the Byte Doc Store window, and I'll drag this over to the other screen. This should look familiar as how you've uploaded documents already in the past. And all you need to do, just like before, is click the auto index button. Byte will then read all of the barcodes that were issued by DocMagic onto the disclosures and index the documents accordingly. So we'll see here in a second that our list is starting to populate. If there are any unsigned documents, just like in the past, it'll pop up with unknown pages, and it's the e-sign certificate that comes back with the package as well. So you can then drag that down and load that into the file while you're at it. So we'll scroll up to e-signature certificate and click on the Store New Documents button. And our initial disclosures are complete and loaded into the file without any additional effort on your part. As always, if you have questions on about Byte, or specifically the e-sign process or the e-sign automatic process with Pushback, you can reach out to Byte support at bancorp.com. Good morning. Welcome to our fourth and hopefully final video segment on the DocMagic Pushback process. So we will assume in this scenario that the package was sent to the consumer via e-sign, but for whatever reason, the consumer did not complete the e-sign process. Either they printed the package, wet signed it with a pen, and returned it back to us either via in-person drop-off, mail, UPS, FedEx, however it is that those documents came back with wet signatures on them, or if DocMagic dropped it to mail fulfillment, if the consumers ignored the e-sign links in their entirety. So we'll notice that up here in our warning lights in Byte that the e-sign link, or the e-sign light, is now red because the e-sign package was now overdue. So this does require some manual updates in Byte because the pushback did not get triggered because the consumer did not complete the e-sign process. So we will need to update some things manually in Byte in our document package. So we'll double click on our initial disclosure logging item in the disclosure log, go to the document package tab, and now we're going to have to update that our package was sent. We'll assume that DocMagic dropped these to mail fulfillment. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, that these were sent Friday, the 25th at 5 p.m. So we put in 03-25-22. Important to have a 2-digit month, 2-digit date, 2-digit year, one space, not two, one space only, 05:00 p.m., whatever the timestamp is on the DocMagic e-sign console for when they mailed that package out to the consumer. And then when were they received? We'll assume that the consumer brought them in yesterday. So 3/28/22. So that has now been done. And notice how our light is now changed to hard copy. And we'll go back in to the general tab and note that these were updated by how we entered them in over here for when those documents were mailed, delivered, and or received. You'll then have to, just how you have in the past, those will have to be scanned in and dropped into the file and auto-indexed manually as that process has worked in the past. That concludes our fourth and hopefully final video. And again, if you have any questions about Byte or the DocMagic pushback process, you can always email Byte support at bancorp.com.